Hello everyone, welcome to Vegas Hockey Now's YouTube channel, but it's actually not Vegas Hockey Now's YouTube channel, it's National Hockey Now's YouTube channel, it's kind of a subsidiary of it, but we're going to be starting up the video content for Vegas Hockey Now. And for those of you that don't know or don't care, I used to have a YouTube channel, and that kind of explains the whiteboard setup. I didn't do all of these logos just, for the sake of Vegas Hockey Now, but they're going to come in handy. Because, I don't know, I made them when I was in like 8th grade, I've updated them over the years, but I think they look pretty nice. Today we're going to be using the whiteboard to discuss, now that we are at the halfway point, the Vegas Golden Knights player grades. Now for this we are going to be ranking everyone on the team, and then some, because I have some other surprises in this one as well, from an A+ to a D. I don't think there's anyone on the Golden Knights that has played an F. Is deserving of an F grade. There are some NAs on the board. I will be including everybody, or as many people as I can in this. I will be including Deboer, Mccrimmon, every player that has played a game except for Peyton Krebs, because that doesn't make any sense. Because, I don't know, I'm a completionist. I like to, rank just about everything that I can, include everybody that I can. And without further ado, let's get started. Now, there's an NA category for a reason. There are some players that have not played a game yet, but are definitely notable, aka Jack Eichel. And then, for the most part, I have the Henderson guys here. Now, while not all of them are in this category, some of them, like Sven Baertschi, Pavel Dofuriev, they both only played one game for the Golden Knights early in the season when injuries kind of came. There are some other Henderson guys on this list, though, that will be in the, A through D rankings because I think they deserve it. So Paul Cotter, Sven Baertschi, Ben Jones, who's having a really good season in the AHL right now. Check out Henderson Silver Knights Sundays for updates on Silver Knights and how, guys like Jones, Dofuriev, even Logan Thompson are doing. Speaking of Logan Thompson, he only played the one game. And Dorofeyev. Now, with that out of the way, those players out of the way, the NAs out of the way, I'm going to skip around here. I'm not going to just go D, C, B, A+. We're going to talk about these players in completely random order. That way you guys can't really predict who I'm going to have out there next, and you can't just skip to the end and have no explanation on what's going on, or skip through the video. So, let's just start from a random player on my list. I hope you guys can't see my little cheat sheet here. Let's go Mark Stone. Let's start with the captain. Now, I'm going to throw him in here. There are a bunch of players on this list that I kind of have grouped into a category because of certain reason. Mark Stone has had an incredible season, but he's only played, I think, 23 of the 40 games, which is, it's a bummer. He's the captain of this team. He's arguably the best player on this team until some guy enters the lineup, maybe, who knows. And he's been great. He's been great when he's played, but he doesn't even have double-digit goals. And, that's a result of him being injured. I tried not to make injuries influence this at all, but at the same time, you can't have, Paul Cotter have a better season than Jack Eichel simply because Paul Cotter has more goals than Jack Eichel, that type of thing. So, in the B tier, I'm going to be including both Mark Stone, who has played more than this other player, but this other player has scored some goals when he's been healthy in the lineup, and that's Max Pacioretty. I think both of those players have had a very similar season. They've been great when they've played, but unfortunately for the Golden Knights, they have not played, and both of them are currently out right now. Mark Stone's in COVID protocols, and then Pacioretty had wrist surgery, so we don't know when, but either of them are going to be back. Pacioretty will travel on the upcoming road trip. Let's stick with the category of kind of grouping players together. These two players, I think, have had somewhat similar seasons as well because they've been a little inconsistent, but they've also been really good at the same time. They both carry $5 million cap hits. If you've read any of my articles in the past, you kind of know who I'm talking about here. And they've both been linked in some NHL trade rumors due to the fact that Eichel is going to eat up some cap space and what's going to happen. And that's Riley Smith and Evgeny Dadonov. Now, I think Smith has had the better season overall, but the guy has not scored a goal in the past 19 games, or scored only one goal in the last 19 games. He's been great. The misfit line has been great, but just the misfit line as a whole, I think, needs to start contributing more. They did last night against the Canadiens. They had 2 goals last night. They had the game-tying goal, and then they had the power play goal where Carlson and Marchessault kind of worked, but still, only the rare assist, not the rare assist, but the occasional assist from Smith has been getting him on the board as of recently on the stat sheet. Not to say he's not looked good, but Given the fact that he's a pending unrestricted free agent, I think the Golden Knights need more consistency out of him. Dodonov has been gaining consistency as of late. He still doesn't have the overall numbers that maybe the Golden Knights would have wanted after they, acquired him in the offseason. We'll see what happens with him. He's currently a first-line player, but where does he end up in the lineup when Pacioretty and Stone come back? But still, I think those two players can kind of be grouped together in the C tier. Let's do our first C tier. And last night did measures for this player in terms of improving his overall season status. And that is William Carlson. He had a great game last night, a goal and an assist. But when you look at the big picture, ever since he came back from that broken foot, he's been inconsistent, and the Golden Knights need more out of him. He only has 6 goals on the season, and this is a guy that, formerly scored 40 goals. Now, Carlson has had an interesting season, obviously, ever since he came off the broken foot, but that was a while ago. He's played 26 games now. He's played, a good chunk, almost half of the Golden Knights games, over half of the Golden Knights games, and he's only half a point per game player. He has 13 points in 26 games. Now again, last night did a great number for him, and hopefully gets him on a roll here moving forward. But right now, Keegan Colesar has more points than William Carlson. Granted, Colesar has played every game and Carlson has not, but I think the Golden Knights need more out of Carlson, a former 40-goal scorer. We've seen him score in the past. And there's all these stars in Vegas right now with Pietrangelo and Stone and Pacioretty and now Eichel that we're starting to forget about Carlson and what he can do. And, we saw it last night with that zone entry on the power play. It was a phenomenal goal, and it shows the chemistry that line has. I think the entire line of the Misfit lines need to gain some more consistency. I think they've been great game in and game out, but finding the back of the net has been a problem for them. And, hopefully last night can start something for them. So Carlson is in D tier for right now. Let's finish out the Misfit line with Jonathan Marchessault, who is leading the Golden Knights in goals. He is scoring big goals, and he is just goals. Goals. That is all I think about when I think of Marchessault. Deboer last night even said, Marshy scores big goals. He's been great this season, especially, in big-time moments. I don't know what else to say. There's a reason he was maybe almost going to be an all-star. Still could be if people drop out. He's had a great season. I'm going to put him in the A tier. I only have 2 people in the A+ tier. And notice how I said people there, not just players. Let's go back to the C tier. Let's talk about some more Henderson guys, because I don't have much to say about these guys, but I think they have done a lot more than, just these guys, that they actually deserve, maybe a ranking here. And that is Jake Leschyshyn, Jonas Rondbjerg, and Daniel Miramanov. They have all played a significant number of games. Miramanov probably played the least amount, but I thought they've played all great. I thought they've been great, and I've been watching Henderson games as well, and I see a lot in these kids. They're not, just some random patchwork players from the minors that you throw in to get you through games. These guys have something to them, especially Miramanov, who I could see being a top 4 defenseman for the Golden Knights within the next 5 years. Rondbjerg, I could see making the team as well. Leschyshyn, it's going to be hard with the current Golden Knights center depth, but first injury, he's up there as well. Now, I said earlier that I didn't want injuries to impact how a player has progressed this season, and I didn't want a really good player who's having a really good season like Pacioretty to be bumped down that much because of his injuries, but then again, you can't put him in the A+ tier because he hasn't played that much, and I know that's not his fault. But for this player, I think you guys will know who I'm talking about before I even finish the sentence. He has been injured so much in his career that it's almost frustrating, and I can't even imagine how frustrating it is for him. The Golden Knights acquired this player in the offseason. We still kind of want to know what he can do. Last night he had a really good game on the 4th line, but still, despite all that, I'm putting him in the D tier simply due to the fact that he can't stay healthy, and it's gotten to a point where in his career where that is a very bad thing. It's a bad thing to get injured no matter what, but Nolan Patrick needs to stay healthy if he wants any shot at being a consistent NHL player. Right now he's holding on by a string, and maybe he can dig his way into the lineup and be a regular, but he has gone through a lot this season. He's played 23 games and he only has a goal, 2 assists, and 3 points. I think there is still something there. This guy was a number 2 draft pick for a reason. Don't give up on him is what all I would say about Nolan Patrick. He is only 23 years old. If he can slowly but surely develop, he's not going to be a top 6 forward. But there's still something in him, And I think if the Golden Knights can see him, they have a good bottom six forward. Speaking of bottom six forwards, let's throw in the two waiver guys. Adam Brooks, who has not played, as much with the Golden Knights, and Michael Amadio. I'm giving Brooks the D tier simply due to the fact that I haven't seen much from him, and when I've seen stuff out of him, like when I've seen him in games, he hasn't really impressed me at all. He's kind of just been there, and now he's in Henderson. Michael Amadio, kind of the same thing, but I think he has a little bit more to his game. I'm putting him in the C tier. He had a really good game last night on the fourth line. I find it funny how you throw together three guys that were fighting for that fourth line center position all on the same line, and they have a really good game. The other name on that, let me write down Amadio real quick. But the other name that I kind of throw in that fourth line center or fourth line category is Brett Howden, who I think has something to his game. He has been gaining confidence as the season progressed. I didn't really see much out of him, say, the first 20-ish games in the season. But over the past, 10, 15 games, I'm starting to see why Brett Howden was such, a kind of sought-out player as like a misfit type pickup for the Golden Knights. I like him. I really like this kid. I think I might do a full article just going over what Brett Howden's potential could be. He has 10 points in 29 games. That's not horrible for typically a fourth-line player. Remember, he did play first-line center one game, which just shows you the Golden Knights' injury status. No offense to Brett Howden. He's only 23 years old. Like Patrick and Howden have played together in the past. Combine those two, and maybe with Amadio, is that your fourth line moving forward? I know we've only, seen him in one game, but I really liked that line last night. I'm giving Howden a B tier. So let's continue the trend of kind of like on the verge of not even making the roster, but still surprised me type players. Ben Hutton came out of nowhere, literally signed midway through the season, and there have been points in the season where he has been playing with Alex Pietrangelo, and he's been really good. Ben Hutton has impressed the heck out of me. He plays a simple game. He's not a very talented defenseman overall, but he's a hard worker, and I really like him. I really like the Golden Knights pickup of Ben Hutton, given the fact that he was a free agent for the first 15 games of the season. They brought him in. He didn't miss a beat, and no matter where he's played, he's been good. He's been great on the penalty kill. I like Ben Hutton's defensive game. I think the Golden Knights will re-sign him because he'll be cheap to re-sign in the offseason. Two more defensemen here, and I'm grouping them together because they are unfortunately both injured as well, and it's hard to give a full assessment on them as they've not played much. Nicholas Hague and Alec Martinez. I think they're both very solid defensemen for the Golden Knights. Defensemen, they are very good defensively, and this ranking will definitely change once they finally get fully healthy, especially Martinez, who the poor guy has got that horrible skate scar, but it's honestly kind of badass. He has not played since November 11th, so I, haven't seen Martinez in a while, so I'm putting them both in the C tier. Let's switch gears here, because like I said, I'm including everyone in this list. And not just everyone, everything. I'm including both the power play and the penalty kill in this. And the Golden Knights power play to start the season was god-awful. It went 0 for 19, and that, was combined with the struggles throughout the playoffs. And, people are chalking it up. We're chalking it up to the injuries, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like 13th in the league. Let's forget about that, but still, that kind of deflates the rankings. I'm putting the power play in C tier. And the penalty kill has been bad for the Golden Knights this season. They do have 6 shorthanded goals, which is up there for the league high. But it has been bad. It's in the top. It's in like the bottom third of the league right now. I'm going to put that in D tier. William Carrier has frustrated me this season because I think there's so much more to his game, and he gets just about 2 to 3 great power move offensive chances per night, but he cannot score off of them. For that reason and that reason alone, I'm putting him in the D tier because the guy can't score. And I want him to. I'm vouching for him. He's a good player, but he's only got 10 points in 32 games, where he could have had so much more. Put him with Jack Eichel, see what'll happen. Keegan Colesar. While I see a lot of people kind of like getting upset with Colesar and the fact that he's not an offensive player, he's not Ryan Reeves at the same time, he's kind of in the middle. He's a good, solid hockey player. He's a bottom 6 forward. He works his ass off. He's not the most offensively gifted player in the world, but he can throw a hit, get in a fight, get you a big goal if you need it. I don't see anything wrong with Colesar's game. What I see wrong with his game is what people want him to be and what people are thinking he should be. And he's Keegan Colesar. He's not, James Neal or Ryan Reeves or anywhere in between. He's just Keegan Colesar. Matthias Yanmark started the season off pretty bad. I wrote a whole piece on him and how the Golden Knights could potentially trade him because he was not doing much, and cap space is a thing, and I think, he's a pending UFA. Ever since then, and it was mostly due to his COVID ailments, he has he's came full circle, and he's been great. I really like Matthias Yanmark's game. He hasn't scored as of recently, but still, he scores big goals. I think this is a clutch playoff performer that the Golden Knights have, given the fact that, of course, the hat-trick game against the Wild. If you can keep him, if you can get him on a good line that is working right now, like it is with the Waugh, Colesar, and Yanmark line, I think you might have something with Yanmark as a weapon that other teams kind of forget about when you think about all the other weapons that the Golden Knights have. Big surprise this year for me has been Zach Whitecloud. A big positive surprise, that is. Whitecloud has emerged. He has emerged as a potentially top 4 defenseman for the Golden Knights because, you got Hague, Pietrangelo, Theodore, Whitecloud. And that just shows the depth on defense. Where does Martinez even fit into that? Whitecloud, he's been great. He has 2 multi-goal games this year after coming off the wrist surgery. He signed a 6-year extension. The Golden Knights have something in this kid. If you're not a Golden Knights fan and somehow watching this video, start to implant Zach Whitecloud's name in your mind because he's going to be something. He's not going to be the next, Shea Theodore or Alex Pietrangelo, but he's got something to him, and I really like his game. There's a reason why he's playing increased minutes. He's breaking his time on ice. Of course, injuries have a part of that, but also trust from head coach Peter Deboer, who I said I was going to include on this list, so let's segue into that. I may catch some slack for this one, but Deboer, I'm putting him in the A tier. I know there's things that, aren't perfect about the Golden Knights, but at the end of the day, and this is all I'm going to say about Deboer, the Golden Knights are first in their division, despite having, I think, the most man games lost, over 200 man games lost in the entire NHL. That's your one fact. While I don't think he's Jack Adams level, he's had a great season, and he's an all-star. He is an all-star, for a reason. Let's go back to the defense here. Shea Theodore has had a season that is hard to grade because some games, like last night, he's been incredible. He has been the Shea Theodore we all know that he can be. Other games, he hasn't been bad. He's just kind of been invisible. The Pittsburgh game, for example, Brian Boyle completely just used his big body and walked around him. I think there's a lot more that Shea Theodore can give this season. I don't think he's had a bad season, so I'm going to put him simply in the C tier. Similarly with that, we'll stick with defensemen here. Dylan Coughlin had a great game last night. I'm starting to kind of like this kid a little bit more. He has a shot. And honestly, it's kind of a bad thing because I don't know how many sticks I've seen him break this year. He needs to switch that up. I don't know what he has for his sticks, but he can slam a puck. He's starting to remind me of what's his name from the Mighty Ducks, Fulton Reed. And because sometimes his shot is not very accurate, but it's a howitzer, and he's had a really good defensive game last night as well. I don't really know where Dylan Coughlin fits with the Golden Knights moving forward, though, because I think Zach Whitecloud has him passed up on a lot of opportunities, like second power play minutes, overtime minutes. But, it's not a bad problem to have with Dylan Coughlin in the mix. And the last name in C tier is Nicolas Waugh, who has had an inconsistent season, but when he's been on, he's been on. When he's been off, he's been off. He's kind of, I don't want to use the term go through the motions, but that's kind of the best observation I have for him. Waugh has had some great games where he's just showed up and just kind of stolen the show. In the playoffs, this is a this season thing, but still, in the playoffs, we know that he's a performer. I don't know where he fits in the Golden Knights, similar to Coughlin, because, Eichel is going to have to take up a center position. There's a certain someone who's the only player in S+ tier, and then you have Carlson, Nolan Patrick, Brett Howden. I don't know where Waugh fits in the grand scheme of things, but he has had good chemistry with Yanmark and Colesar. Hopefully that can continue. And I kind of alluded to him there as the only player in A+ tier, and that is Chandler Stevenson. Traded for a 5th-round pick, Chandler Stevenson has 12 goals, 26 assists, and 38 points in 40 games. He missed the one game for personal reasons. So he has not been injured for the Golden Knights as well. Well, I don't want to say that out loud because I'll jinx him. But Stevenson he's been incredible. He has not only made the case for the top-line center position for the Golden Knights, he's made a case to be an NHL All-Star. He's made a case to be one of the most underrated players in the entire National Hockey League. And he's made a case to be one of the worst trades in Washington Capitals history, right up there for Martin Erat for Philip Forsberg. Stevenson has impressed the hell out of me this year, and it's such a good thing for the Golden Knights given the fact that this guy is coming soon. That is going to make the Golden Knights center depth so good moving forward. Is Eichel even the first-line center on this team given Stevenson's play? Stevenson has played well with anyone that he's played with. He's playing with Carrier and Dodonov right now, and he has 2 goals in his last 2 games. It doesn't matter if he's not playing with Stone and Pacioretty. He knows what it takes to win a Stanley Cup, and he's going to be a big part of the Golden Knights' potential Stanley Cup run here come the playoffs. Let's go from A+ tier all the way back down to D tier, and we'll talk about Robin Leonard. There's no F tier on this board because I don't think anyone has had a bad season. I think Robin Leonard has had an okay season. There's a lot of eyes on him this year, given the fact that this is his first year after taking over from Fleury full time, and he has been okay. The Golden Knights need better than okay. There have been multiple goals, such as the one last night, where he has simply been out of position, lost sight of the puck, and, rebound control, whatever you want to chalk it up to, it comes down to his mental state and his confidence. And he's been hurt multiple times this season, or one time this season he came off of the injury in the offseason. So maybe that has something to do with it, but he needs to be better for the Golden Knights if they want to win a Stanley Cup. And when we're talking about goaltenders, let's switch over to Laurent Brucewa, who I think is going to be in the B tier. B for Brucewa. We haven't seen much out of him, but when we've seen him, he's been good. I don't think he's a better goaltender than Leonard overall, but I think he's had a better season than Leonard this season so far. We're only halfway through again. And he's played a significant amount of games. He did not early on in the season, and then Leonard got hurt, and then he played 4 straight, and then he got hurt, and he's still hurt right now. So we don't really know what's going on with Brucewa, but when I think of Brucewa, I think of backup NHL goaltender, and he has been that for the Golden Knights this year. He's been all but that. He's filled his role perfectly. Kelly Mccrimmon, while I know he might not be some of your favorites, Golden Knights fans, for what he did to Fleury and Reeves and whatever, this season he has made one trade, and that is acquiring Jack Eichel. Without giving up Shea Theodore, without giving up Riley Smith, he gave up a good prospect in Peyton Krebs and a player that was on LTIR and a couple picks to get a generational talent in Eichel and then a 3rd-round pick as well. No salary was retained, which, maybe whatever. But still, at the end of the day, Kelly McCrimmon has acquired Jack Eichel, and I don't care what, he's done in the past. If this is the new shiny toy thing that you guys always say that happens with McCrimmon, he's acquired Jack Eichel. I don't know how many times I've said Jack Eichel. This may be the biggest trade in Golden Knights history, which is saying something. I know this franchise is only 5 years old, but still, they've had some big trades. But the Eichel one, you guys just wait. This guy's going to be insane. Braden Mcnabb has been a treat to watch this year, whether it's been the big hits or just great defensive play. He is a shot-blocking machine. I think he deserves a lot more credit than he gets, and he is a pending UFA. But I think he deserves to be re-signed. He deserves to have the A. He's an original Golden Knight. And the Golden Knights would be lost without Martinez and McNabb on defense as defensive defensemen. And speaking of defense, the last name on our list is Alex Pietrangelo, who I grew up a Penguins fan. I see a lot of similarities in what the fan base thinks of Pietrangelo, though, to what happens here with Chris Letang. He gets bashed on a lot because of his defensive play. He's an easy scapegoat what was he doing on that play? He got tripped up by the ref on this play. But at the end of the day, Alex Pietrangelo is the best defenseman on this team, and it's not even close. Shea Theodore is amazing. He's nowhere near Alex Pietrangelo levels. The dude played over a half an hour the other night against the Maple Leafs, and he's in his mid-30s. He is a horse. I don't have a better word to describe Alex Pietrangelo than horse. He's just a workhorse. He does everything for the Golden Knights. He's arguably overworked, but also that is what he's supposed to do. Power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, overtime, he's there. And he's had a great season so far. The numbers haven't been phenomenal, but the Golden Knights have relied on him a lot with all the injuries. He's played left side for a couple of games. He's been great for the Golden Knights, and that'll kind of wrap it up. So, let me know what you think about this, my rankings and my thoughts. Give me your rankings as well. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to National Hockey Now. For those of you that have seen me in the past, this is going to be the new outlet for my video content is on the National Hockey Now YouTube channel. Be sure to Braden Mcnabb hit that like button. So that was kind of cringy, but I'll see you guys all in the next video. We're going to be doing these videos after every away Golden Knights games, not rankings and player grades, but maybe some observations, maybe a post-game chat like the fellow Dan Kongursky does in Pittsburgh. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys all in the next Golden Knights game.